Welcome back to Class on Grass Podcast, Season 2, Episode 30.
Yes, so many changes right now. Honestly, like the the in the studio excitement that we had last time, I think was anticipation for this. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, we have been like, in a sense, we've been building up to this point for a year now, almost a year. We started with a little bad mic, and then we moved up mics, and then we got a camera, and then we changed setups, and blah blah. And now it feels almost complete. You know, when you have someone in the background working, like our producer, wonderful Sutton back there, working, changing the camera angles, doing the business back there. It just feels like it's a smooth running train. So as you guys can see, multiple camera angles throughout today, which is going to be great, honestly. Mm-hmm. And what a better way to start it than on possibly the biggest change scare, I don't know what to call it. Story in world football.
In the past, probably.
I don't know.
I think in our
since Leicester.
Yeah. How international it was. And I think probably because the one thing for me was people who I know don't know anything about soccer were coming up to me and being like, "Oh, what about the Super League, huh?" And I was like, how do you know about this? Yeah. I thought it was just like inside the soccer world, but it was basketball fans, football fans, American football fans, just random people coming up to me and wanted to talk about it. And I thought it was like insane. Mm-hmm. It was cool, but it was like for a bad reason,
Yeah, I mean, like you said, for a bad reason. It was the biggest story since Leicester, but Leicester was obviously celebratory in most of the eyes of the world for almost the opposite reason of this. Mm-hmm. An underdog story, which this Super League, if you don't know, is trying to, in a sense, make underdog stories much harder, if not impossible, in the sense of Leicester. But yeah, like you said, people were coming up to me when I was eating lunch. People were coming up to me when I was walking through hallways. Like, hey, what's this thing about the Super League? Like, what's mm-hmm. going on here? Like, tell me more. Yeah. And it was so weird, like, to have all of these people knowing about it. I think it's definitely due to, I know you had reposted some, I had reposted some Instagram stories, as did many soccer fans, football fans around the world, about the Super League. And overall, I think that the fans combated what was going to take place extremely well. So could you just explain to everyone, mm-hmm. just for a little bit about what was going to happen with the Super League and why it would have changed football so much?
So it was pretty much the owners who are billion trillionaires of these big clubs, I think it would have been 20 in their proposal, would have broken off from their domestic leagues just being there. They would still be in it, what they wanted, and then they would also play in a Super League, which is no relegation, no promotion. They would just play each other midweek games, and there would really be no sense of intensity or anything, because if you're not going to win anything, you're going to win a trophy for this Super League, but you're not going to get relegated or anything, and you're playing the same teams every week, when in the past, those big games against those big teams come around maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and that's why it's so special, but that would just be taken away. So it'd get really boring. And then as well, all those smaller teams like in the Premier League, which is what we really focused on, like, one, winning the title isn't going to mean anything if they would have left the Premier League, which was also threatened. And at the same time, like, soccer is for the Cinderella stories like Leicester, and that would have just been taken away, and it would have been like, oh, a Newcastle West Ham game would be like the biggest game of the weekend, and that you don't really want to see that. You want to see the small teams beating the big teams, maybe making to the Champions League, winning the league against the big, the giants of football, and that would have been all taken away, and none of the players or managers wanted that. It was all the owners, and it was all greed. So,
agreed, and what was his name again? I'm blanking on it. The president of Real Madrid. I know
Florentino Perez.
Yeah, Florentino Perez. He was talking, and he's partially right on this point. He was talking about how it would be much better to see bigger teams playing more often. Your viewership, like for for a financial reason, yes, your viewership would be much higher if you had those teams playing in the beginning. It would be so high. It would be like skyrocketed. But it's all like in relation to what else you can see. So if Leicester and West Ham were the two best teams in the world, they would be the most watched teams. And if that was the best level that you could get to, people would watch them the most and idolize them the most. But because there are other teams that are better, people want to watch Barca and Real Madrid and AC Milan and Arsenal. But what some of these clubs in the Super League didn't understand is that if they were in the bottom of the Super League, people wouldn't want to watch them. Yep. People would be watching the big teams. So it would even take a hit on those teams with their overall fan bases and stuff. And like you said again, community, grassroots football, and the joy and connection that football/soccer brings out in the entire world is unmatched in any other sport, and it felt like that was trying to be taken away for money. UEFA is a very corrupt place, a very corrupt organization, but they do give a lot back to grassroots football, to academies, to places that don't make the money, but to allow people to experience the beautiful game. And this Super League would not only have been taking extra money, like giving extra money to all these owners, but it would be taking money away from these smaller teams and smaller organizations. And I just think it was a bit greedy and it was a bit unfair towards all of the clubs that maybe weren't in the top 20 in the world. Why was Ajax not selected? You know, why there's some clubs out there where you're like, their history is so good.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Why are they not selected?
Yeah, if you're giving Arsenal, who are in 10th or whatever, if you're giving them a spot, why aren't you giving Ajax, who have won their league the past however many years, and,
exactly,
you know, get through to the Champions League every year, and why are they not in it?
Then it's no longer a Super League, it's a money league.
Yeah.
More people watch Arsenal than Ajax, sure.
Yeah.
Is Ajax better than Arsenal? I'd say if they played 10 times, Ajax would probably win more times.
Yes.
So it's clearly not for the status of how good you are. It's how much money and revenue you bring in. So yeah, I think it was very corrupt. Luckily, the fans have all come together. There was tons of people speaking out, pundits, teams, players. You know, the actual teams didn't want to go into it. You know, it was just the owners. And so all of these pundits, teams, players, fans were speaking out, tons of protests. And in a sense, the English clubs entirely pulled out, which disbanded it, and it's been suspended. Perez still thinks that they are going to find a way around it and create this Super League. There's also a conspiracy theory that he did this because in the contract there's a clause where if you pull out from the Super League after you sign, you have to pay Perez, and now he's going to have hundreds of millions and he can go buy Mbappe, possibly. Yeah. That was one of the conspiracy theories about it. But overall, I think that fans are a lot happier right now with the situation that they're in. But the one thing that I would, I think I just want to give a little praise to Patrick Bamford. I'm pretty sure you saw his interview. Yeah. And after the Leeds game, they were asking him what he thought of the response to this Super League madness. And he said, it's a shame that this can attract so much attention and get so many people fighting against it in such a short period of time. Yeah, protests. In front of their
stadiums.
Everyone trying to fight against it within a day. And racism and that whole fight, it's taken how long? And
it's like,
we've made strides, but in football it's still prevalent.
It's like, this player had racist comments in his Instagram post. Stop racism, and that's all they say.
Exactly.
And then it happens again, and they're like, don't do anything. And then you see fans for this physically going out to their stadiums,
like literally
protesting, doing whatever they can because it's the game that they love, but at the same time, there's still racism everywhere in the game. Most recently, probably the biggest story would be the Slavia Prague team with Glenn Kamara on Rangers, and yeah, people are like, that's not okay, but they aren't doing any more than also commenting their support on an Instagram post for him.
Yeah. Wow,
that's not going to do anything, realistically.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those things where it's hard to talk about because it's very sensitive matter in all of football. But it needs to be talked about more. It needs to be fought more. And I wanted to give Patrick Bamford that thumbs up. That little bit of that's good that you're doing that. It needs to happen more in football, and I think players speaking out about it really helps overall in that cause. Moving over to more Super League madness, a day into the Super League being formed, maybe less, maybe 20 hours, Jose Mourinho is sacked for possibly, no one knows really, but refusing to train with his team because of the Super League stuff. I'm not sure how I feel about this because I think he might have been like, I can either go out losing a cup final or I can go out a hero fighting against the Super League.
I don't think that's true. I think he loves the final, and
Yeah.
he had that track record of winning a trophy at every club he's been at.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would have given that up just because, if I lose, like, he's still not going to have a trophy either way, so why wouldn't he just try it?
Yeah.
It is a bit unfortunate that he left and then a day or two later it all collapsed and they weren't even going into the Super League. But I mean, how much of it was his decision and how much of it was, as we saw, pretty much every team, pretty much all the English teams have all their managers and players in their press conferences were like, yeah, we don't like it. We don't want to be a part of it, but we can't do anything because it's the owner's decision. And I also saw, do you know the Bundesliga system?
Yeah, the 50 plus 1,
50 and 1,
49.
yeah. I think that's just a great idea, and they should try and, like, as punishment almost, but it would just be better for the game, make every team across top 5 leagues or everywhere have to have that rule. Do you want to explain it more?
Yeah, so essentially all Bundesliga clubs, in order to be a part of the Bundesliga, are required to abide by the law of ownership, which is 50 plus 1. That's the short, term for it. And it means that 51% of each club in the Bundesliga is owned by, it is called the fans, but it is a group of, I don't know how to describe them, maybe shareholders in this fans union for each club. So they take into account what the fans have to say, fan votes, things like that. And that represents 51% of the club's ownership, and 49% can be owned by a billionaire from, wherever that's coming in to try to buy this club to make money. Although buying a football club is not the most profitable business. So, I don't understand why these owners were so focused on that. I mean, I think the motivation of buying a football club should be because you love football and you want to be on this roller coaster with your club. Obviously, Liverpool have doubled or have increased by 7 times in their worth since I don't know who bought them. But most of the time when you're buying a football club, you're not making money. Unless I'd say, what do you think the numbers are? 90% as you go down the leagues. But yeah, the Bundesliga ownership rule, I think, would be extremely helpful in the entirety of football because it allows decisions not to be made for economic status or financial status, but instead for the greater good of the game, because I think that the only reason that this game is played and is still alive is because of the fans. So whatever the fans want is what should happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that was the biggest thing was everyone knows and everyone has talked about how, the owners don't actually care about the team and everything, and it's so disconnected. But here we saw it actually come into play, for real, and I think with that system, that would take it out. Or as we saw, Ed Woodward resigned. He was with Manchester United, and I think definitely many others should resign. I don't know if they will because they have so much power. It's like, what are you going to do if I don't? They have all the money for the club. And I think the reason, at first it was Chelsea and Manchester City who resigned or I guess, stepped back from the Super League, and I think that wasn't as surprising to me because I know Abramovich, their owner, has been with them for a long time and has built that team and given them so many trophies and everything. I wasn't surprised that he was the first one. And then with Manchester City, I know, I think they're pretty connected with the team, the Sheik, and I think the amount of money they've put into it, I don't think they would actually want to get in any trouble with that. And
I mean, if you think about how much money they've put into it,
oh my God,
they're not going to be making that back. Like
they don't need to make that.
They don't need to make it back.
Yeah,
Sheikh Mansour is. I mean, it's a whole nother controversial topic of if he should even be allowed to do what he's done with Manchester City.
Averaging like 400 million transfer money a year.
Yeah, literally, it's like, oh, here's your check of $600 billion for this season. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's just I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just it's an icky situation that, I'm glad is unfolding in the favor of the fans and the players' needs and wants. The other thing that I think is important to add is that UEFA and FIFA came together for the first time in a very long time to stop this. And the regulations and not only regulations, but consequences that they put into place were, I mean, extreme. The English FA said that if you leave, you have to be put into the 5th division, and FIFA said if you go into the Super League, you won't be able to play in the World Cup. And even that alone, if someone told me, and I was playing in the Premier League, that I couldn't play for my national team, I would leave. National team is the most honorable football you can play. There is no greater honor than playing for your national team, no matter how good your national team is, no matter if you're in a small Caribbean island or you play for Belgium. It's all the same. You are playing to represent your nation.
Your club is your job.
Exactly.
But your nation is that's your pride.
Exactly.
That's why you play.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested if they ever give them any punishment because they're threatening all this, and then once they all backed off, they're like, oh.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say.
They should, I feel like, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I don't know, because I don't want to see Arsenal and Tottenham and Chelsea and Man City, Liverpool in the 5th division. I don't want to see them in the conference.
Yeah.
That, I think that would be a bit overkill. But, they were threatening fines of about $50 billion. Is that feasible? I'm not sure.
They have the money to.
They have money,
or maybe give them a transfer ban for 5 years or something.
That would, I think that would be extremely fair. A longer transfer ban than what Chelsea had for that 2 years. But, 5 years is so significant because you lose everyone on your team who's in their prime exits their prime. In that last year or two, and unless you're a team with a ton of young talent, you have to make all of your talent from then on. Your youth academy is this is what we're doing now.
Which would be so cool to see because those clubs have the top youth academies, but they don't use it because they just pay for $100 million players every year.
Exactly.
And I think that would just be really interesting to see, how that happens. We saw it with Chelsea. Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, especially in that one season where they couldn't buy anyone, they just shined. And they, he was I think he was the leading goal scorer, and then Mount, we've seen actually just become Chelsea's best player this season. And I think that would be interesting. I think maybe a points deduction. Also, whether that be next season they start on minus 12 points or something, or it's actually for this season, which means West Ham would most likely get Champions League football. I know they're outside of it right now, but I think, I'm going to be interested if it was all a scare tactic or they're actually going to implement something. I think they should because, as Perez said, it's not going away. It's just whatever.
They're rethinking.
Yeah, they're putting it off for right now, but I think definitely it will be back at some point in the next couple of years.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, here's what I have to say or talk about. the new Champions League format.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what exactly? I did some research on it. Do you know what's happening with that?
I read something about it.
Yeah.
I know like the basics of it.
Exactly. So essentially, for all of you out there who don't really know, UEFA was planning on revamping the Champions League anyway, and the Super League came in maybe partially because of that, in a time of change anyway. And Ilkay Gundogan has come out and said, is anyone thinking about us players? The new Champions League format is no better. It's just the lesser of the evil. It's still evil. So what I have to explain. I didn't have to explain it first. I was going to talk about like what I was thinking.
Yeah,
and then I was like, well, for those of you who don't know, they're changing it from 32 to 36 teams. So just expanding it a little bit more. And it's going to be a 36-team table where 1 through 18, or is it 4? It's either 1 through 14 or 1 through 18. There's 10 group stage games. You only play 10 of the 36 teams. And places 1 through 14 or 18 get to automatically, I think, or it's 1 through 12. Yeah.
I think 12, yeah.
Yeah, 1 through 12 get to go automatically into the knockout stages. 12 through 28 or 24, one of those, has to do a playoff for the remaining 4 of the knockout stages, and the rest get dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, isn't there a part like, the very bottom don't get anything, they're just out, and then maybe next up Europa League,
yeah,
right?
Something like that. So, it seems, it will be changing. Here's the one thing. It'll be entertaining. I have to tell you that. It will be entertaining.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it because teams can earn their right to play in it. It's not like, oh, you're rich.
It will be very entertaining because there's going to be a playoff before we even get into the knockout stages.
Yes.
That will be cool. The problem that lies with this is players can't do it.
Yeah, it's adding,
what, I think
20?
It was max 8.
Yeah.
If you won the Champions League, now it's like 25 or 28 games. Yeah. You're adding so many games.
Yeah,
players are going to get injured. Players are going to get fatigued. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't know. Maybe Champions League teams can't play in domestic cups, maybe. So, whatever, Man City, all those teams can't play in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup, but then that takes away winning a quadruple or whatever. Like, they can only win Champions League or Premier League.
Yeah.
But that's an extra more than half a season of soccer in the same season as your domestic league, so I don't know.
I'm okay if they take away the League Cup. I think the FA Cup needs to stay because the FA Cup's just so classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Change happens, and change is hard, and change is often one of the things that a lot of people in big organizations or communities don't want, But again, I can see why this is going to help. Everyone likes playoffs. Everyone likes, I mean, if you're trying to tell me, anyone can message me about this. If you're actually trying to tell me that you don't enjoy promotion playoffs in the championship, I think that's crazy. I think that promotion playoffs are one of the coolest things because it gives an opportunity to teams that aren't quite as good as the team that might deserve it more to outplay them for a spot to go up in the next league. So it's kind of like we were talking about how football is all about giving extra people opportunities. It's giving extra opportunities to those teams that were good but not quite as good as, maybe that third place team. And there's still automatic promotion in the championship. There's also a playoff. Just like there'll be still automatic promotion into that knockout stage, but then there'll be a playoff for those remaining teams, which I think is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's not even just opportunity, it's also money. Yeah. So if a small club wins in the playoffs to get to the Premier League, they also get a bonus of like 100 million plus then all the TV and all the other money that comes in with it with the Premier League compared to the Championship. It's just a huge jump financially for those smaller teams. So that's why the football pyramid is so great, is because that's how it works. You play well, then you can get that big payout. If you don't play well, then you drop down. And
exactly.
It's all about the fans and the team and their performance, not how much money you have.
I mean, tell me right now how Brighton, 6 years ago in League One, could look and say in 6 years we're going to own the Amex Stadium. The Amex Stadium is one of the best stadiums in the Premier League. You know, for like.
It looks the nicest, I think.
You know what I mean? Like for look, aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's obviously not history.
Yeah, and it's not like huge, but
yeah, but it looks sick.
Mm-hmm.
So, like it'll give smaller teams opportunities. Like Gary Neville said in his interview, not opposed to having money in football, but when money is closed off for strictly the best teams and best owners, that's when there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is kind of our summary on the Super League. We have to move on. We did say this past week when the Super League was happening, we were like, well, if the Super League does go through, we might just become an all MLS podcast.
Yeah, there's no point in watching anything in Europe if all those teams are gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's probably not going to happen. Although this summer we will be having an all MLS podcast as there's no Premier League or European football.
Yes.
So for those of you MLS fans out there, look forward to that. And, you know, that's kind of where we're going to segue right now, you know, as the MLS season has kicked off. We have, I think we're going to mostly focus on Minnesota United as it's our home team, even though we've been denied press box seats, which I'm extremely disappointed about. If Minnesota United's listening right now, please fix that.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm hoping that their director gets back to us.
Maybe they're just angry that we lost 4-0 in our opening game.
You see, that's the thing. And they're like, well, adding Glass on Grass Media will maybe not improve the team's performances.
They know how critical we are, besides Dotson.
But well, is that a good place to start? I don't like Hassani Dotson up in that position at left wing.
Yeah, so exactly. As I was watching, I was like, God, he really isn't playing well.
He was like Mesut Ozil at Arsenal.
But that's not his position.
Yeah.
Even though we joke, he could literally play any position.
Which he can.
But
he can't play left wing.
When Robin Lod and Ethan Finley are up top with you, you really aren't getting a lot of firepower up there. So I'd say, like, in that game, the only two players who I thought who did not disappoint me.
I'm going to agree with you on this one.
Yeah, who did not disappoint me or underperform was Reynoso and Michael Boxall.
Michael is a beast.
Wow, what a performance.
Genius. Even though we lost 4-0, what a genius.
Brent Coleman was laying on the floor, flopping everywhere. And
Brent Coleman, dude, I love the guy. He is a great guy.
He's a legend at the club, but not in MLS.
Legend of the club from NASL.
Yeah.
He came from the academy that I'm at right now. You know, he's from Minnesota. He is not cutting it at the MLS. I'm sorry, he's not cutting it. And, you know, I don't see him able to be our starter.
He had good moments in the first half.
Oh my gosh, yes. He had great moments.
But then the second half was completely opposite.
I don't know if it was stamina or something. There's just something about his performances where it's just like...
Almost.
It's so close. He's there, but he's not. He's climbing, but he's not quite there.
He'll make a mistake, and then we'll lose the game because of it. And it's like, well...
Yeah.
You know, Ike Opara won't do that.
Well, Ike Opara is never going to come back to football.
Yeah,
what's going on there?
He most likely won't. It's concussion stuff, and I don't know if he'll ever. I think he might just retire probably.
Yeah, didn't he have some mental health stuff going on as well?
Yeah, it was they've kept it really secret. But then Debasi also has a thigh injury.
Yeah, Debasi. When Debasi gets back, I'll be excited to see what he, and we already know what he can do, but just how he adds to this team.
Yeah.
He isn't a natural center back, which is the one thing that I complain about. I don't know why we signed him when he's a natural right back and we already have Roman at right. We don't need another right back other than Metnier. He's great. We need a backup, but Debasi's not a backup. He came from Ligue 1.
Dotson's our backup.
Exactly.
Literally.
Exactly.
That shows it. He started the left wing.
Yeah.
When Metnier gets injured, which he does every season for a little bit, Dotson slides in there and does perfectly well, and then he sits in center defensive mid, and I think we are a little short on defense.
Defense and wingers. This is what I'm saying. So we have, when Debasi gets back, we will have an okay center back pairing. Actually, not an okay. We'll have a really good one. We have good outside backs. Metnier. I like Chase Gasper as well. I think he's a good player, good laddie, hardworking.
He is a hard worker. Yeah.
And so I'm fine with our outside backs. Our midfield looks great. Will Trapp did not have a good performance, but that does not mean he's a bad player. He's a good player. I think
And
he's going to be.
he's very much a possession player,
Yeah.
and we had no possession that game. So I feel like when, especially tonight, we're recording before the Real Salt Lake game, I think we'll have a lot more possession. We're at home, and I think he might play a lot better. I think he will play a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be great. We have Ozzy Alonso on the bench, who can sub on, who's a good replacement.
He's just solid,
for
like
Will Trapp. Yes.
Yeah.
Reynoso in the middle, no questions asked. Best player on the team.
Yeah.
Roman Abila, is that how you say it?
Abila, yeah.
I don't know exactly, but although he missed those 2 shots when he got subbed in, he's gonna be so good. He's gonna be
Well, just the chemistry between.
You saw it. You
Yeah.
could see it already.
As soon as I think it was like seconds after he came on,
Reynoso.
he ran on. Reynoso got the ball, crossed it in, and they got a shot. He didn't even look up. He just crossed it in, and he was there. And
Exactly.
also, we're rumored to get another Argentine winger.
Yeah.
And from Boca Juniors, I think, and 3 Boca Juniors.
We're turning into
Up
a
top.
Boca Juniors Liga team.
We're turning into Wolves of the Premier League, but of MLS. We're gonna have a full Argentina team by the time Reynoso's gone.
The thing that I like, the one thing that I don't understand. Why did we sign this Hunu guy? I don't know how to pronounce it. Hunou. He is a great player.
Mm-hmm.
He apparently was a super sub at Stade Rennais, in Liga, and scored a lot of really important goals for them. But why do we need to sign another striker? We literally just signed this guy from Boca Juniors. It doesn't make any sense to me. We don't need another striker. Robin Lod can also play up top. We have 3 world-class strikers right now. Robin Lod actually is world-class because he's finishing inside the box.
Inside the box, yeah.
Scratch everything else. Inside the box, he will not miss.
Even though he did.
Yeah, he did. There was that one. I was
There's
like, ooh,
2.
that was a bit close.
There's 2. He hit the post on one, and then he just missed wide on another opportunity, which last year he did put in. So, and no one really played well in the game, so I will let him off the hook. But I'm not very pleased with seeing him starting up top every game.
Do you want to see him start?
It's hard because the only possibility he will get those chances in the box is if he plays striker.
Mm-hmm.
But I think bringing in Bila and the new French guy, I feel like they have to start above him. And
Of course. I mean, they are more qualified.
yeah, and I think they have more to their game than just, they can finish inside the box.
Exactly. I think Abila will have really good hold-up play.
Yeah.
And Adrian Heath loves a bit of hold-up play.
Angelo
That's why he signed
Rodriguez,
Angelo, but he did not do very good on the hold-up side. He did all right, but he just wasn't that good.
I don't think he really played like a hold-up striker
No, he
because I feel like all I remember is him running behind, but he's a huge guy, so he can't really get there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. But, our spine, if we get Devassi back, will be good. I think we need wingers. If we can get this Argentine winger, that'll be really clutch.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need another center back. We have this Cadence Montgomery. Is that his name?
Montgomery, yeah.
The
Wait.
center back from Canada that we just super drafted.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he is a center back, which is good. We drafted him. I don't remember what school he was at, but he came in from the MLS Super Draft, and
I can look it up.
yeah, and he also has chemistry with Dane because he's on the Canadian national team for under 23. And yeah, he should be good playing at that center back position if he can get a few minutes in here and there. Yeah, other than that,
McMaster.
No, McMaster was a different one.
O'Hearn.
No.
Kibunguchi.
No.
That's how we drafted.
No,
I think.
I swear this guy. I gotta look at my app that shows me United's lineup.
But McMaster also, he had a lot of goals in the preseason from what I saw of that coverage. So I think him, and then we have Tim Weah, who I think
Not Tim.
Patrick, coming in
27 years old.
Yeah, maybe not 18 or whatever they say, but those two coming in at attack, I think, will be similar to Mason Toy, who they're young, and they could Toy did come in and make a big impact in maybe take that starting spot as well,
Yeah.
which will be interesting.
I think he was picked by someone else and then traded to us.
Traded,
maybe.
okay.
His name's Kellen Montgomery, 6'3", center back, 23 years old, on the Canadian U23 team. So he could be really good, if he can slide in there when Debasi's hurt. It honestly just depends on how he performs. I'm not comfortable with Brent starting, even.
I don't think he's comfortable starting. To be honest.
Well, I feel bad for him because he works so hard.
Yeah.
He works so hard.
And he had a good first half.
Dude, it's just consistency.
He just made a couple mistakes.
But here's the other thing. In the first half, it was much more even. Like in the second half, they were just pummeling us with chances. He could not keep up.
They scored probably goal of the season already.
Oh my God. That goal was incredible.
So, rolled on, played it out wide, cross, cut back to the top of the box. It's bouncing. The guy flicks it up into the air off a bounce and then just volleys it perfectly, swerving away from Dane into the corner. I mean, that's like FIFA,
I couldn't even do that on FIFA.
Yeah, it was an incredible goal. Like, you see that on, like, freestylers or on Instagram, like...
The F2 do that daily.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I mean, it's... That goal I'm not mad about. The next three, I was disappointed, beyond disappointed about. It's simple mistakes.
And
it's like mark your man.
Very easy goals, yeah.
Just stay on your man. He's running behind you. Just stay on him. Mm-hmm. But we couldn't seem to do that. And
Dane saved a penalty, which I just forgot.
Dane saved the pen. Like, they could have had 5.
Yeah.
5-0 in our opening day, and we're supposed to be power ranked at 5.
Yeah,
Number 5.
We were power ranked at 5 for the MLS coming into the game, and now we're at 10, I think.
You know how much we dropped after one game?
Yeah. Well, hopefully... Did you see Real Salt Lake's first game? I don't know.
No, I did not.
So, I mean, they've never been...
This is a blank. This is a blank slate for us.
Yeah. So we're gonna say this is our first game.
Yeah, well, we're scratching the
tonight,
last one.
And hopefully at home, which we are. We've always been a very good home team and a very bad away team. So hopefully we can.
Yeah, but we're a good home team when we have our amazing 22,000 fans packing Allianz.
True.
I mean, our fans are unbelievable.
Yeah.
We don't have that right now.
No. And, well,
roll the vaccines out.
We didn't last season. And we still went to the quarterfinals.
Maybe it's something about the turf.
Semifinals.
There's a rock. They touched the rock.
Yeah, the rock.
What is the rock? Do you know what the rock is?
I don't know what the rock is.
They touch this, like, when the players walk out of the tunnel, there's this rock in the middle of the tunnel. And they all touch it when they walk by.
Doesn't, like, Schalke have that?
Yeah, Schalke has that. We're the coal miners. A club built on coal miners.
I don't know why we have... I feel like we're like, oh, that's cool. Let's put a rock in there, and it makes 0 sense, but...
Signed Matthew Hoppy's brother.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's... Every club has their thing, at Anfield, they touch the You'll Never Walk Alone sign above the stairwell. Everywhere has their own thing. It's just such a weird
Ours
thing.
is Wonderwall, though.
Yeah, why do we have the rock?
The rock is unnecessary.
Do you want to just leave it at that for today? The rock is unnecessary.
What time do we have, Suddy?
Well, you guys have been talking for 38 minutes. So.
Yeah, I think that's all good.
Yeah. Prediction for the game tonight.
Yeah,
Also, Abila's injured.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Yeah, so...
I was about to say Abila with the goal, and then I realized. 1-1, Reynoso with a goal.
1-0.
To us.
To us. A Jan Gregush 40-yard just bullet.
I'd love to see that.
He tries about 10 of them a game.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
It has to go in. It must. So
the 150th one has to go in.
I think I'm saying like 90 plus 10 minutes.
Oh, my goodness.
He just rips one from half and just goes in.
If he does that, I will run and jump into the creek.
Okay.
Outside the studio. Deal?
Yes.
All right. Well, we will see you guys. Next weekend we're going to be on the Zoom, so it's going to be a bit before we're back in here. But, yeah. Hopefully your guys' weeks are going to go well. They have been going well. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.